Welcome to the Lost in History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Between 1947 and 1949, Martha Beck and Raymond Fernandez became known for deceiving people through personal ads. During that period, they committed crimes against multiple women by using false promises of romance to gain their trust. During the 1950s, Betty Page became one of the most recognized figures in American visual culture. Known for her dark hair with bangs and distinctive style, she modeled for popular photographs of the era, appearing in magazines, calendars, and advertising materials. Venus, a bulldog, was the mascot of the destroyer HMS Van Sittart during World War II. She accompanied the crew on board and was known for boosting the sailors' morale during long missions at sea. Soviet women were taken prisoner in July 1941 in the Neve region, then part of the Soviet Union. They were captured during a period of intense military movements among various European countries. An African-American man stands during a public event in Jackson, Mississippi in 1950. The captured moment shows his presence amid a gathering marked by significant social contrasts. On March 28, 1979, an incident occurred at a nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania, United States. The facility experienced a partial overheating in one of its reactors, leading to an emergency response and containment measures. In August 1992, a powerful natural phenomenon hit the regions of the Bahamas, Florida, and Louisiana. The event was classified as Category 5, the highest level of intensity, and caused significant impacts in the affected areas. A visibly weakened boy was documented during the period known as the Hunger Winter in the Netherlands around 1944. During the Middle Ages in some regions of Europe, metal devices were created to publicly punish people accused of speaking too much or inappropriately. The daughter of a struggling farmer in Arkansas was photographed around 1930 during the Great Depression. In the image, she is cooking on an old stove while her mother receives treatment in a specialized sanatorium. A British soldier proudly displays his damaged helmet in 1917. The helmet shows visible impact marks, indicating that it served as protection in a dangerous situation. An anarchist militia was recorded in the city of Lleida, Spain, in 1936 at the start of the Spanish Civil War. These militias were formed by volunteers who defended social and political ideals opposed to the authoritarian regime trying to take hold in the country. In 1986, observers reacted with shock to what happened during the launch of the Challenger space shuttle. The event occurred just after liftoff, in front of a large crowd of spectators on site and viewers watching on television. A street scene was recorded in Kabul, Afghanistan, in 1979. The photo, taken by François Lochon, shows everyday urban life in the Afghan capital during a time of social and political transition. In Hiroshima, in 1945, a shadow left on a surface was recorded after a high-intensity explosion. This mark, known as the nuclear shadow, was caused by the intense light and heat that struck the city. Iranian women protested against the mandatory use of the hijab following the Islamic Revolution of 1979. These protests marked a significant moment in the country's history, highlighting issues related to individual freedom and women's rights in Iran. In 1938, Benito Mussolini took part in a photo session in the Pontine marshes in Italy. During the shoot, he appears shirtless and engaged in grain harvesting as part of a staged public relations event. In 1940, residents of Marseille watched as French military flags were prepared for transport to the African continent after France was occupied by foreign forces. A Spitfire Mk-7 fighter from Squadron 41 flew over Eastbourne in East Sussex on April 12, 1944. The aircraft, identified as EBB, was piloted by Flight Lieutenant Don Smith, an Australian veteran who took part in the Siege of Malta and later the Normandy campaign. In 1969, Niagara Falls was temporarily dry in one section. This interruption occurred on the American side of the falls when engineers diverted the river's flow to conduct studies and stabilization work on the base rocks. A young man posted news of the Titanic disaster on a bulletin board in Times Square, New York, in 1912. The event had a massive impact worldwide and was closely followed by people in the streets. This is the famous Bran Castle in Romania. The photo was taken in 1884. The castle is known for its striking appearance and its association with popular stories about a character named Dracula. In 1964, the Beatles met Muhammad Ali in Miami, United States. The encounter took place during the band's visit to the city and was captured in a series of light-hearted photos at a boxing gym. A 1967 photo shows an elephant being used as an unusual means of transport. The image became famous for linking the scene to a well-known character, implying that even the dark night sometimes needs a different way to get around. The oil crisis in the United States in 1973 reduced highway traffic so much that some people held picnics on nearly empty roads. The fuel shortage led to rationing and a significant decline in vehicle use. In Sydney during the 1960s, the presence of the British musical group, known as the Beatles, drew huge crowds and caused widespread public excitement. In 1897, Thérèse of Lisieux was photographed dressed as Joan of Arc during a performance at the convent where she lived. This is considered the only known image of a person who would later be officially recognized as a saint portraying another saint. This photo was taken in Manchester, England, in 1943. It shows a group of children playing on a city street. The houses in the background are typical of the period, built with dark bricks and pitched roofs. This photo shows the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, United States. It was opened to the public in 1937. Instead of cutting a typical ribbon, officials inaugurated the bridge by cutting a silver chain. A slot machine was in operation at the Mint Casino in Las Vegas in 1958. The Mint was one of the city's best-known casinos at the time. It was part of the famous Fremont Street Entertainment District in Las Vegas. Rare photos show Marilyn Monroe alongside a Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer known as a Mountie in Banff National Park, Alberta, in 1953. Elizabeth Taylor was photographed in 1954 during one of the defining moments of her film career. By this time, she was already recognized as one of Hollywood's leading actresses, known for her beauty, talent, and on-screen presence. American football was already played in the United States in 1920. At that time, the sport was being organized, with rules standardized and leagues being formed. Children salute the United States flag in front of Morgan Hill School in California during the 1930s. At that time, this gesture was part of daily activities in many schools as a way to teach civic values and respect for national symbols. This photo was taken in New York City, in the United States, in 1952. It shows a driver removing a picnic basket from a Rolls-Royce automobile. The moment occurs as he enjoys the view of the city in the background. Veteran soldiers of Napoleon's former army gathered in 1858. They wore historical uniforms and medals recalling military campaigns from decades earlier. Many of these soldiers had participated in key events in the early 19th century. Young people with alternative styles were seen in Leningrad, Soviet Union, in 1988. They were part of a cultural movement known for expressing ideas through music, clothing, and behavior. In 1955, a man weighing approximately 455 pounds became known as the heaviest person in Europe at that time. He drew public and media attention for his unusual appearance during that era. A radio mask was used in the 1920s for application on the face and neck. At the time, it was believed that using radioactive elements could bring aesthetic or therapeutic benefits. A large cactus was recorded in the Lower California region in 1895. The area, now part of Mexico, is known for its dry climate and adapted vegetation, including large cactus species. View of the so-called White House, an ancient Pueblo ancestral structure in Cañón de Chelly, Arizona. The image was recorded in 1873. Two people painted eyes on their faces during the Art Students League ball held in New York City in 1955. The event was known for bringing together artists, students, and creators in creative celebrations full of visual expression. Around 1982 or 1983, a person dressed in Puritan-style clothing protested against what were considered revealing swimsuits at Daytona Beach in the United States. In Paris in 1924, a creative solution was documented for dealing with floods. During high water, residents and authorities used raised platforms, makeshift walkways, and even adapted furniture to cross flooded streets. Around 1931, Al Capone, a well-known figure of the era, obtained an autograph for his son from Gabby Hartnett of the Chicago Cubs baseball team. This episode is remembered as a curious intersection between the sports world and influential societal figures of the time. This is an example of how much computers used to cost, shown in an old Radio Shack advertisement from the late 1980s or early 1990s. A BMW Schneerad snow machine, developed around 1936, was seen parked on a street. This vehicle was designed to travel over snow-covered terrain, using wheels fitted with tracks and a reinforced frame. In 1926, London parks used sheep as a natural way to mow grass. These animals grazed freely in green areas, helping maintain lawns efficiently and ecologically for the time. Charles Yonge and his wife were photographed driving an automobile through a Pittsburgh neighborhood in 1907. The vehicle is an example of the earliest cars used in the United States, at a time when streets were still largely occupied by horse-drawn carriages and pedestrians. Sailors pull a boat through the narrow streets of Port Isaac, England, in 1928. The vessel was being transported from the construction site to its launch point in the sea. In 1890, a pile of bison bones was recorded beside the railroad tracks in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. These bones were being shipped to England to be ground and used in the production of fine china known as bone china. A boy with his dog was photographed in Moscow in 1987. The scene captures a simple, affectionate, everyday moment during a transitional period in the Soviet Union, shortly before major political and social changes. A young family was photographed in the Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic during the 1950s. The image shows aspects of family life in Central Asia under the Soviet Union, with traditional clothing combined with elements of the Soviet lifestyle of the era. Joseph Stalin was photographed alongside his daughter Svetlana in 1932. In the image, he appears in a family moment, contrasting with his well-known position as leader of the Soviet Union. In 1935, Joseph Stalin was photographed wearing Central Asian traditional attire during a meeting with distinguished kolkhoz, collective farm workers from Tajikistan. A girl with a hippie look was photographed at the Woodstock Festival in 1969. The event, held in New York, brought together hundreds of thousands of people in a celebration of music, peace, and free expression. In 1987, Robert De Niro served as a juror at the International Film Festival. Recognized worldwide for his film work, De Niro joined the jury responsible for evaluating the competing films that year. Mick Jagger, lead singer of the Rolling Stones, was born in 1943. During the 1950s, he was still a child, living with his family in England. At that time, his life was peaceful and far from the fame he would achieve years later with his musical career. During the 1970s, Natalie Wood was already an established Hollywood actress. Known for roles in films such as Love Story and Rebel Without a Cause, she continued to work in both film and television, maintaining her prominent presence in the entertainment industry. A Sears, Roebuck, and Co. catalog assembly line was in operation in 1942. These catalogs were distributed widely across the United States, allowing people in various regions to order products directly from home. In 1960, Alfred Hitchcock was seen enjoying the snow with his grandchildren. Known worldwide as a film director, he was also a family figure during leisure moments outside the studios. A human chessboard was used in a match held in St. Petersburg, Russia, in 1924. In this performance, people represented the chess pieces and moved according to the player's instructions. The Citroën DS-19 was showcased at the Milan Triennale in 1957. The model drew attention for its advanced design and innovative technologies, such as hydropneumatic suspension and power steering. Times Square in New York City in 1927 was already a bustling and brightly lit hub. During that period, illuminated billboards and advertising signs began to spread across buildings, turning the area into a cultural and commercial focal point. The old alley known as Vennel, near High Street in Glasgow, was photographed by Thomas Annan in 1868. Annan was commissioned to document modest residential areas as part of an urban recording project. In 1944, a mother was seen repairing the family car while her husband was away on military service. During this period, many women took on additional responsibilities at home and at work, contributing in various aspects of daily life. In 1928, a person known as the Iceman was seen delivering a 25-pound block of ice in Houston, Texas. At that time, ice was essential for preserving food, especially before electric refrigerators became widespread. A 1931 photo shows actress Greta Garbo in the role of Mata Hari. The image was shot in an aged Hollywood mansion used as a backdrop to capture the character's mysterious atmosphere. Young people are gathered at the entrance of a local store in Connecticut, United States, in July 1949. The scene was captured by photographer Gordon Parks, known for documenting everyday moments with sensitivity and attention to urban life. In 1922, a man was seen in Washington, D.C., listening to a radio that operated only after inserting coins. This type of device was known as a pay radio and represented an innovative way to access broadcast technology at the time. Until 1956, children in France received wine as part of their school meals. This practice was seen as common in many regions of the country, especially in rural areas where fermented beverages were part of the local culture. An information board was used to help organize and guide travel movements. These boards were common in stations, airports, or boarding areas, serving to display schedules, routes, and destinations. A woman appears wearing a special suit designed to protect her from harmful elements. This type of garment was used in contexts such as medical procedures, equipment handling, or laboratory testing. A loaf of bread was baked on the morning of August 24th, AD 79, in the city of Pompeii, in the region that is now Italy. The bread was preserved because it remained inside an oven covered by layers of ash from a major natural event that day. The Dale Creek Bridge was a 19th century structure built in the United States. It spanned a high area and was highly unstable due to strong winds and its narrow metal frame construction. A dinner table was set for 14 guests in 1946. The attendees were present without knowing the exact reason for the gathering. The event was organized with every detail, including cutlery, plates, and arrangements typical of the period. This is the View Phone, a video telephone created by Toshiba in 1964. The device allowed real-time video calls and is considered one of the first steps toward the video calling technology we use today. One of the biggest trends of the 1950s was the telephone booth challenge. Groups of people would gather to try to fit inside a single telephone booth as a form of game and competition. A protective mask featuring the appearance of the character Mickey Mouse was created to help children feel calmer and more comfortable during potential air raid alerts. The goal was to make using the equipment less frightening, especially in tense moments. This is an authentic 19th century advertisement for a cough remedy called glycoheroin, Smith. At the time, the product was promoted as an effective solution for respiratory issues. This photo, taken in Jerusalem in 1920, shows a sign in the background reading "The Palestine German Bank." The image was captured over a century ago during a time of significant political and social changes in the region. A worker wearing a rain cape was recorded in Japan in the early 1900s. The garment was made from natural materials such as straw or oilcloth, designed to protect against the region's humid climate and frequent rain. A cabin belonging to a World War I veteran was recorded overlooking Nueces Bay in Corpus Christi, Texas, in 1938. The image shows the simplicity of the dwelling and the surrounding natural scenery, reflecting the challenges faced by many veterans during economic hardship. Two women from the city of Uppsala, Sweden, are shown wearing winter clothing, likely in 1857. The woman on the left is identified as Amanda Frederica Hildegard, Hilda Earhart, née Pedersen. In the 1970s, Pizza Hut locations featured a distinctive look with red roofs, illuminated signs, and interiors decorated in dark wood. United States soldiers stationed in Fulda, Germany, organized a Christmas party for orphans and needy children during the 1950s. In 1969 in Berkeley, California, Tom Dunphy took part in a protest against the United States' involvement in the Vietnam War. During the demonstration, he adopted the satirical name General Westmoreland as a direct critique of the era's military policy. A young student was photographed in her room in the dormitories at the University of Georgia in the late 1980s. The setting features typical elements of the period, such as posters on the walls, personal belongings, and characteristic electronic devices. In 1903, Fanny Cochrane Smith, an Aboriginal woman from Tasmania, recorded her voice singing on a phonograph. This recording is the only known audio of the traditional Tasmanian language, which is no longer spoken in daily life. This is a photo of Ella Harper, taken in 1885. Ella was born with a rare genetic condition that caused her knees to bend backward. Because of this, she moved more easily using her hands and feet in a crouched position. Charles S. L. Baker and his assistant introduced a radiator heating system in 1906. This system was designed to provide practical and consistent warmth to indoor spaces. Prague, the capital of Czechoslovakia at the time, is depicted during the 1950s. The city is known for its historic architecture, featuring old buildings, stone bridges, and clock towers. Even after political and social changes, Prague retained its traditions and cultural landscape. The last known photo of Elvis Presley was taken shortly after midnight, at 12:28 a.m. on August 16, 1977. At that moment, Elvis was at his residence, known as Graceland, located in Memphis, United States. The famous Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills, California, was photographed in 1925. The road was already known for its tall palm trees, wide streets, and elegant buildings. Actress Belle Bilton played the role of Bella in the play Beauty and the Beast in 1889. The production was part of a popular theatrical tradition of the time, featuring detailed costumes and elaborate sets inspired by well-known tales. In 1946, a young woman was photographed purchasing nylon stockings from a vending machine installed in a New York restaurant. This type of sale was an innovation in commerce at the time, offering convenience and quick access to popular post-war products.